Hello everybody, Marcos Villegas for Fight Up TV, and on May 5th, the man right next to me, Abel Sanchez, will be cornering gennady Golovkin as he faces martirosyan at the StubHub Center in Carson, California. And in speaking with Vanes, he's been real persistent that he's going to get up in gennady's face, that he wants to feel his power, and he feels that nobody's really ever stood up to gennady and been there to take his best punch and keep on going. As a trainer, when you hear that, what goes on through your mind?
I hope he keeps his word after he gets hit with the first shot. But saying that, he's a guy that has nothing to lose. He's a hungry fighter. He's a fighter that hasn't fought in 2 years. He wants to prove a point not only to the fans but to his promoter that he belongs up there in those big fights. It's a rocky situation. Nothing to lose. Nobody expects you to win, or the majority of the people don't expect you to win. Why? Not because you're no good, but because you're going up against the monster in boxing right now. So I hope that he does that. That'll give us, the fans, that great fight that the StubHub always seems to produce.
Fans have mentioned this fight haven't received it well. Some of them have said, well, why didn't he fight Derevyanchenko? I know we got into that. But there's a perception that this should be an easy win for gennady. Gennady doesn't think that, but what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, let me say something about Derevyanchenko. Derevyanchenko is trained and managed by the same people that have Danny Jacobs. Back in September of 16, I believe it was, we fought Amir Khan. And not Amir Khan.
I was going to say, like, who'd you fight Amir Khan with? I'm like, what?
Sorry.
Kell Brook.
Amir was just on the TV the other day with a good friend of mine, Joe Goosen, and he had a great win, so he's on my mind right now.
But it's Brook and Khan might fight. There you go.
Fight, wouldn't it? But anyway, I don't know if it'd be a great fight now with Joe Goosen training Amir Khan, because Amir Khan with Joe Goosen in his corner is going to be something that they're going to have to deal with, trust me. Yeah, Joe Goosen's a great trainer. He hasn't had...
The chin, though, the chin!
The chin has been a problem. I'm going to tell you, the chin's been a problem because of his training methods. With Joe Goosen in his corner, that totally changes. Totally changes. But anyway, back to Kell Brook. We fought Kell Brook in September of 16. Early October, late September, Tom reached out to the Jacobs group because they wanted that fight for Golovkin. It was a mandatory, all that BS. It took, well, first of all, Tom offered to fight for December. I think we had a December 9th date. They said that they needed 10 to 12 weeks to prepare for Golovkin. So that fight was scrapped. We ended up not fighting in December. We ended up taking 3 months to negotiate a fight that happens in, when was that, March or April, whatever that was, in 17.
March, I remember, because they had that polar vortex thing, and that was the worst.
Okay, so Derevyanchenko is managed and trained by the same people. So how can one fighter be ready to fight in 3 weeks when the other one can't be ready to fight in 10 to 12 weeks?
Everybody's different, no?
No, not everybody's different. What happens is this, is you start dealing with Derevyanchenko for this fight, it's a week, 2 weeks, May the 5th doesn't happen.
But knowing like that they're pressed on time, don't you think they would have been like, okay, we'll take anything, we just...
Absolutely not, they got you over a barrel. You want to make the fight, they got you over a barrel, so they negotiate in a different way. So what happens is that we keep talking for a week and a half, and this fight doesn't happen. We're not sitting here talking. So we as a team have to make a decision, have to make a choice. We as a team decided that regardless of what happens with the organizations, we are fighting on May the 5th, and that is a difficult fight to make, so we're going to go after a fight that's not as difficult to make. Vanes happens to be a guy that was going to fight the guy that fought Jacobs last week. Selecki, yeah. And Vanes was favored to beat that guy. That guy gave Danny Jacobs all he could handle if you saw the fight. He hit him with more shots than Danny's been hit with in a long, long time. He's a smaller guy, so he couldn't hurt him. So now we get Vanes in the mix because he's not going to fight Selecki no more. He needs a fight. This is a legitimate 154-pounder that not only is #1 in the WBC, but his 3 losses are against guys that have been calling gennady out. His losses are against Andre, who he knocked down. His losses against Lara, who he had a good fight with, and his losses against who's the other guy? Charlo. Okay, so the people have received this fight or are not thinking it's a tough fight. It's a tough fight against everybody else except Golovkin. Okay, it's a tough fight for everybody else. He hasn't fought in 2 years because they have avoided him. I'm talking about Vanes. And against Golovkin, it seems just like with Floyd. Everybody says they have the blueprint to beat him, but yet he's undefeated still. The same thing with Golovkin. Everybody thinks that they have the key to beat him, but they come up short. I think it's a tough fight. I think that is a hungry fighter in Vanes. I think that it's a fighter that has a pop in the right hand. He's an Olympian, U.S. Olympian. He was our representative in the Olympics in 2004. So he obviously has the skills. Whether he has the ability at this level now in the professional ranks to beat Abel Golovkin, we'll find out on Saturday night.
Spoke to the trainer as well, Edmund Traverdian, who's trained Victor Archinian, Ronda Rousey, and is now training Vanes Martirosyan. He spent time with Ronda in camp in Big Bear, and he told me that he saw a lot of Gennady's training methods, a lot of the training. He spent hours watching you guys train there and watching tape. He said that he has more comprehensive knowledge about Golovkin than normal other trainers. Does that worry you? Is that a concern, knowing that he knows a lot about Golovkin?
No, I would hope that everybody pays attention to what Golovkin does. Everybody pays attention to what Tyson did when he was in his heyday. Everybody pays attention to what Floyd Mayweather did when he was in his heyday. Why? Because I think that's going to further our sport. I think that it's good to make sure that we have the new, whatever new things it is that makes the sport better or makes a fighter better, implemented into everybody's routine. Why? Because it only helps not only today's game, but the future of this game. I have 9 other fighters in my gym that I want to improve, that I want to take to this level. And the only way that's going to happen is if I continue to do what I'm doing in the gym. Meaning that there's other trainers that could do the same thing we're doing and be up there with us. That would be the best thing for the sport. I don't mind being copied. I don't mind people looking at my gym. It's all on HBO. It's not just a week. It's not just a month. It's a career of doing the things that we do. It doesn't happen just like losing weight. It doesn't happen in a month. You have to be persistent and you have to be disciplined.
I got to point that out. You call me fat, Abel?
A little bit.
Call me a little gordo? Like, come on, man. I'm sensitive about that. But, okay, with you bringing that up, this is what always tripped me out about when a big fight comes and they close camp off. Guys had 30 fights. There's tape there. You could see it. Like, he's not going to fight so drastically different that, closing a camp off. I know there's little things there, but at the end of the day, I strongly believe when it comes down to it, a fighter gets hurt, feels a punch, he goes right back to what he knows because that's the natural thing to go.
When you have an open workout, there's not a fighter, there's not a performer of any sort that does the same thing in an open workout than he does in a workout.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it in terms of like, oh yeah, camp's closed. I'm like, well, there's tape there. Like, even if like we see something in a workout, like he's had like 30, 35, 20, 27 fights, like there's more than enough tape on the fight. I'm just saying that. I'm going up on a tangent because it always tripped me out.
A fight is different than a workout.
Yeah, of course.
Okay?
Of course.
And if we have a public workout today, we're not going to do today in a public workout what he does in a regular workout.
No, of course not.
So you don't know what he does in a workout. Just because you see a piece of tape doesn't mean that that's what he does. Same thing in a fight. In a fight, you see a fight. You don't see if you were to see a 2-hour workout for 2 months to see our full training camp and it was videoed every day, then yes, you could see. But in a little clip like that, it's impossible to figure out, okay, he does 1,500 sit-ups per day. Do you know?
Not me.
Okay, I don't either. I can't do 15.
I do 14.99.
Okay. So anyway, he does 1,500 sit-ups a day. That's every day. And the workouts that he has are like, it's just impossible to, you sit back and say, how does he have anything to fight? But that's just what we've accumulated from the first day to now. So it doesn't happen in a month. It doesn't happen in a week. It happens in years of doing persistent, disciplined, dedicated work. So it doesn't matter. So I go back to your question, that public workout keeps him from actually working out. So if we're getting close to a fight, he does a public workout, we just lost the day. Because he's not going to do the things that he's going to do for a regular workout.
Interesting point, Abel. I got to touch on this subject. Canelo, they tasted his hair, came back clean. What's your reaction? What's Gennady's reaction overall to that?
Oh, Gennady doesn't have a reaction. Gennady's focused on the 5th, on Vanes Martin.
But he heard the news, though.
I'm sure he did, but he hasn't mentioned it to me. He hasn't talked to me about it. He's focused on Vanes, but my reaction is this: if I'm playing devil's advocate here, if I'm innocent of everything they're accusing me of, if I'm innocent of it, and I'm going to take a special test to prove that I'm innocent, I want the world to know that I'm taking that test. Because when it comes back negative, you see, guys, I told you so. Yet nobody knew about this until the results. How funny. I mean, you could be like that's an aha moment. Why didn't he tell everybody he was taking that test? I have my point exactly. Because if the test came back positive, nobody's going to know about it. Let's announce it to the world.
I don't know much about the situation. It could be because maybe it's an ongoing investigation. They can't really say much because of litigation.
It was finished. The investigation was finished when the commission did the ruling on the 18th of April. That's the investigation was finished. At that point, the commission lost its jurisdiction on Canelo. And they said it themselves. They can't test him no more. They can't do nothing no more.
But after that situation, you think someone would try to do something at that point?
What do you mean?
Like, would try to do anything at that point, like, because of this whole Canelo.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I'm going to announce it to the world that I'm innocent.
But the results came back, and it's the hair follicles date to like a long time, though.
Nobody knew about the test. That's my point. That's my point. If I'm innocent, and the commission said I was innocent, I'm going to prove to the world, I'm going to take this test tomorrow, and everybody, it's open to the public. Everybody can see. But yet nobody knew about it. So if I'm a vindictive, if I'm thinking that he's dirty and thinking all the bad things, I'm thinking that he didn't announce it because if it did come back positive, then he didn't want nobody to know. That's the only thing I can think of.
But you said devil's advocate. That if you're playing devil's advocate, now, but your general they say the hair follicle is the most comprehensive thing that you can do. It traces back. Well, from what I've read, and I could be wrong, I'm not an expert in the thing, but from what I've read, it traces back a very, very long time, and it'll tell you if there's anything in there. And when he took it, it came back clean. So based on that, should he not be admonished of any wrongdoing that he did whatsoever?
No. The man from San Francisco, what's his name? The man from San Francisco? Yes. Before the test and everything, months before that, he said that there has been proof, I think it was him that said it, there has been proof that the hair color has a bearing on the results. And he mentioned the dark red hair having a bearing on the results. I think that what I'm disappointed in is that there was no continuation of testing once the commission lost its jurisdiction on him, because once they suspend him, they lose all kind of, he has to wait until August something to reapply. Why not in that period of time have testing continued, or order testing to continue, or order him to subject himself to testing, even though they're not in jurisdiction, just to order him to part of a program before he can reapply to get reinstated as a license. Nothing was done. That means that from that point, the 18th, till he reapplies, nobody's watching. How's that possible? I mean, when you get drunk driver or whatever, you get arrested a couple of times, they put that damn anklet on you, they put that shit on your car, all that stuff happens. Why? Because they want to keep an eye on you, because you've been messing up. Okay, you messed up. You have a punishment to pay. You have to prove yourself that you can't do that again, and it doesn't happen.
So for you, based on what came out, do you believe then that it was an accident, that he had no purposeful?
Of course.
You believe him 100% because of that now?
No, I believe the commission. I don't believe, I'm not going by him. I believe the commission did their investigation. I believe that, just like I asked, I believe the commission did a thorough investigation. And from what I understand, he met with Mr. Bennett. He brought him all the paperwork. He brought him all the, but listen, you and I, well, you're about 21, 22 years old. I'm a little older than you.
I wish, Abel. You're giving me some ages, some years. You're getting me happy.
You and I know that we all have friends that can doctor things up for us. Documentation can be doctored up any way you want to doctor it up.
But if you were to do it, that's a federal thing, though.
Mexico. That's in Mexico. That's not going to happen nothing in Mexico. So, thinking, again, being a devil's advocate, thinking all that can happen, the commission took it because they have to take it because that's what's presented to them. They allowed it. I agree with it. They did their investigation. He presented what he needed to present. Now, from that point on, I think the commission has to ensure the safety of everybody, the safety of all the fighters, by forcing him to have some kind of proof from this point forward. Some kind of proof by VADA that he is a clean fighter. They're going to license him in August with what proof? Just because he petitions?
The hair sample and the documents and all that.
So all this time is so after the hair sample, everything, you can do everything up at that point. Are they going to do another hair sample in August? Probably not. So he's going to be able to be able to get his license in August by presenting what? By doing what? Just signing a piece of paper. I think that hurts our sport. I'm not just talking about Canelo. I'm talking about everybody concerned. Everybody that's dirty should have to have some kind of guidelines and guarding so that it doesn't happen again.
All right, Abel. Hey, thanks for your point of view. This Saturday, you got a challenge in Vanes Martirosyan, Gennady Golovkin defending his middleweight titles at the StubHub Center on HBO.